Oh, yeah. I'll hit record.
Hi! Hi, guys.
When you start
Hi.
talking, maybe I'll hit record, yeah.
Okay, I'll start talking. Hi, it's 8 p.m. It's
This
Sunday
meeting is being
night,
recorded.
and this meeting is being recorded on Zoom as well. I'm so excited to be with you here today with the lovely Baiba from Create Your Best Career. She helps women find their best career so that they can love Mondays again. The
Yay!
yes, exactly. Love Mondays again. Just if you're just not enjoying your job, you feel stuck. Like, what's next for you? She helps you find that. So let me see how I can add her. I always
It just
There it
requested.
is. Request. I forgot to tell you, but you probably already know because you've been with me all week. She is going to tell us how she released defensiveness. Now I know this is a little bit.
This one.
Feedback.
This is, I think this is what you were planned for.
The recording has stopped.
I just paused.
Okay. All
Okay,
right. Let me go through this then, and pause mine too, because I think there's gonna be echo.
yeah.
Okay. So I gotta wait. Let me just mute it and. Okay, I muted it. I wonder if it'll still record, even though I muted it, because it's just muted,
Yeah,
but
and
it might still actually do it. Maybe. So we're trying something new today. Sorry for the technical difficulties. We're trying to be here on live with you and record it on the Zoom. Can you mute yours?
I think I muted mine, but I think I will have to end it. I think I'll
Okay.
have to end the Zoom because it's too much echo and stuff.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe we need to research it more and try some other time.
Yeah, let's keep
All
this.
right.
Okay, cool.
Good. All right, thank you. That we tried. Okay, we thought we had it, but we don't. That's all good. So, if you've been with me, you know that we're going to talk about releasing defensiveness. Now, this one is hard, guys. So, if you're with me here today, I just want to say how proud I am of you because we all have that no, I'm not defensive, get away from me. Like, no, this isn't about me. This is about you. You did something wrong. I'm not being defensive. Like, I don't think there's a single person who doesn't feel that way when they're struggling with this. That's the whole point of it. It's such a hard one to release because we're going to keep saying, no, it's you, not me. And so if
Mm-hmm.
you can just open your heart and know that there is no judgment here. I've dealt with it. Baiba's dealt with it. I don't think I know a single person who hasn't dealt with it because there is so much shame around being good, and we're
Mm-hmm.
good people. And so if anybody says we're being defensive or this or that, we immediately want to say no. So
Yeah.
I just want to invite you warmly. Just know there's no judgment here. We love you. This is a safe space. We just want to have this conversation because we know how much growth in your life and opportunities can arise when we let go of that, because it just opens us up to have deeper connections with other people. So
Yeah.
here's Baiba to
Hi,
talk to us about it.
Sandy.
Hi.
You set it up so beautifully. Yes. And you hold this beautiful, safe space for people, which is like so lovely and so wonderful, just like you. So thank
Thank you,
you for
Baiba.
talking to me. Happy
Thank
Sunday,
you.
everybody.
Yeah, happy Sunday. It is Sunday. Oh my gosh. Hopefully everybody's well rested. So,
Yeah. And I was thinking maybe it would be good to, like, I was thinking today, what is defensiveness, right? Like, what actually is it? And maybe I can share,
yeah,
like,
I love it.
what it is for me, and then maybe you can share, because, like you said, it's a conversation, right? And it's not really directed at anybody to point out anything in you. It's just we're inviting you into the conversation to see if that, if you recognize it's something resonates, because it's been a journey. It's been a journey for me too. And I'm still on it. It's not like I still, even this weekend gave me, I'm like, oh, I'm talking about defensiveness. So God, universe, whatever you believe, was serving me opportunities to see it, mirroring it. And it's like so layered. So what I really see or feel the defensiveness, for me, it's when somebody says something, right? Somebody does something, whether it's in a conversation, in a meeting, or even it can be in an email, right?
Yeah.
And that somebody else's action or what they said triggers something in me, right? So it triggers something within you where you, and many times, like the response is so quick, it's like kind of a lashback. It's like sometimes has a lightning speed where you have to protect yourself and you have to defend yourself, right?
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
just comes so fast. And what I know, so it triggers something in you where I feel like, I've been setting these walls. Like, I think it really, from my perspective, it came from, it comes from us, from our heart being broken at some point of time. And it doesn't have to be just romantic love. It's like it could have been one instance or several instances, even in your childhood when just, it could have been as simple as, you were talking to your parent and they were, busy with something else, right? But it was so important, the meaning you made, right? And then when your heart, your needs in your childhood need to be fulfilled by other people. You can't meet all your needs, right? At certain development stages. And then, then at some point of time, the meaning we make is that we have to build these walls, right? That we have to protect ourselves. And I think that's where what you're saying, Sandy, about connection with other people. This is where we're inviting you in this conversation, that it can actually, shedding these walls can help for more authentic and more meaningful and true connection with people. And, a better and a deeper connection. How about you?
That is beautiful. I love your awareness of it. I love everything you said. You were spot on. I think so. You want me to say what I think?
Yeah. What's defensiveness for you? Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, I think it's right on. Usually, for me, it's even more like the person's actually maybe said something like they felt hurt by something or something like that. And sometimes instead of just immediately saying sorry, a person could feel like, but that's not what I meant by it, and just go into defending themselves rather than just saying I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it was, but it's like I think in high school or something like this that I became aware of this, and I just learned to immediately say I'm sorry, like not even care, not even try to defend myself at all, because I got that awareness that they're not in it for that. They don't want to hear my story right now. They just feel hurt, so they want to feel heard. And I remember once a friend was really saying things like, even just, I don't know, like 3 or 4 years ago, she was saying all this stuff that she thought I had thought that I had done. And from my perspective, that wasn't really the whole story. It wasn't really what had happened.
Mm-hmm.
But in my head, I was like, Sandy, it doesn't matter. It's her story. She feels hurt. Just listen to her and say you're sorry, and don't even try to explain yourself.
Wow.
And so that's what I do, and I've just been practicing it for so long. But I remember I have a really close relationship, and anytime that I would bring something up, saying like, "Look, this hurt me when you did this. Hi guys, hi. Ask questions whenever, join in whenever." I would say something, and he would immediately be like, "But that's not what I meant." And I would be like, "I guess that's not what you meant." Like, and I totally know that you're not trying to hurt me intentionally, but it's what I heard. And it's like, so, and it was like this whole thing. And he was always defensive, always defensive. And then finally one day it hit him, and it was like, you already get it, right? That I'm not trying to hurt you. You're just trying to say you feel hurt and you want to feel heard. And it's not that hard for me to just apologize, is it? And I was like,
Mm.
you got it. It's really not hard just to say I'm sorry, because it just makes the person feel heard. I actually have this. Can I share one story? Because to me,
Yeah.
it's a special story. It's about my dad.
Yeah, totally.
Well, my dad's passed away, but whenever I think about this story,
Mm-hmm.
like I feel I'm so grateful we had this moment. And so my dad was your typical male, like not really talking a lot about his emotions. I mean, I knew when he was sad or things like that a little bit. It wasn't like he was a robot, but like I don't think we would have, it was not like this completely. I don't think, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? I don't know. It's a little, it's like touch and go, I guess. Like there's some there, but maybe not. And so, um, he had been joking and it was meant to be a joke, but I took it seriously. And so I started to cry, because I thought that it was real, what he was saying, about being, something where, um, something was bad, like something had gone wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even remember why he was joking about this or why anything. I just remember it happening. And then I called my sister and I'm like, it looks like this is happening, but I thought it was real, so I cried. And she was like, Sandy, I don't think that's real. That sounds like one of Dad's jokes. And I was like, what? He jokes like this? Like, no, but he wouldn't say this to me if it wasn't real. Like, I think
Mm-hmm.
he knows me. And she was like, Sandy, I think he's like playing on the fact that you're a little gullible. Like, I don't think this is true. And so like, and so I was like, no. And so I call back my dad and I'm like, Nancy says this isn't true. Like she thinks that this is just your humor, your sense of humor. We had different relationships with him. Obviously, we're both different people. And she was like, he was like, what did I say? And I said, you said this, and I took it very serious, and I cried and everything because I thought it's true. And he was like, oh no, I just mean this. And like he was joking, and he meant something completely different by it, but I took it literally.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but anyway, I think that's what happened. And then I felt really hurt, and I wanted acknowledgement of that hurt.
Right.
And he says to me, I'm just gonna talk to you later when you calm down. Like,
Okay.
and I felt kind of like, oh, like treating me
This.
like a woman with emotions, you know,
Yeah,
like that, like
yeah.
just being a little feminine right now. I'm just gonna go away.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I was like, Dad, I am calm. I'm not angry or anything, you know. I just whatever. So anyway, so he did, and then he called me back like a few hours later or something like that. It wasn't like that big of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, are you calm now? Like, can we talk now? Is it better? And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, Dad, you know, I'm not angry at you. I don't really get that angry at you because you're my dad. Like that's
Yeah.
to me not even a thing. And like nothing that you could do could ever really like change that or make that go away or anything. Like you're my dad.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, but like all I want is for you to like to just like to me like say sorry or something, not because of anything huge, like because I'm angry or anything, but just to acknowledge that you cared about my feelings,
Mm-hmm.
such that I know that we have a relationship where we care about each other. And it would just make me feel heard. It would just let me know that you care about me. And he just looked at me, and he was in his 50s, okay? And I guess like he had never had anybody tell him this or anything like that. And I've just always been like this. This is who I am. And he was like, oh, that? I can do that for you. Of course I care about you. If that's all it means. Yes, I'm sorry. I don't want you to feel bad. And I was just like, thank you, Dad. And so that always just still warms my heart, and it makes me feel like you can have these conversations with anybody if I was able to have them with my dad.
Yeah. So you felt seen and validated and important.
Yeah. But he didn't have that understanding, you know, that emotional awareness that
Yeah.
saying sorry just meant I care about you, and you know, and I didn't intend to hurt you. That's all it means, you know?
Yeah.
It's not about like you're a terrible person. I think that's what many people think. It just goes into, oh, I'm such a terrible person. And so then they don't even want to apologize because then they think they're admitting to being a terrible person. I really think that's where it goes
Or
for a
being
lot
right
of,
or wrong.
or being right or wrong. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, well, I'm sorry. I went a little long. Let's share what you have about how this could help
Um,
people.
yeah. Hi, ladies. I thought Tatiana joined and somebody else. Hi,
Hi.
happy Sunday. Yeah, so no, thank you for sharing. I mean, that's and you talking about realizing that defensiveness, it's like having already this realization in high school about the saying, it's not that sometimes that other person only needs to be heard and seen and validated, and that it's better to say I'm sorry, especially, I mean, to me, like defensiveness is really when you are I notice for me, that's when I'm in my small self, right? When I'm in my ego, when I'm in the small, scared self that needs so much protection. And, when we talk about the career, I think I really started in my late 20s, early 30s, I would say, is when I started understanding that this model of like I kind of came from more of a background, that people are out for themselves, right? That people only care about their needs and they will only mainly take care of their needs, right? Nobody, and you have to fend for yourself for this. I guess it's like a dog eat dog is an
Yeah.
expression, yeah,
Dog
type
eat
of
dog world.
world. But then, I at a certain point, I think it was in my early 30s, I started seeing that it's not serving me. It's hard to live according to that model. And I think I started like on this self-help, self-development journey, right? And because I was seeing a limitation, because I felt like somewhere I felt like to live better, to have a better day-to-day experience, I have to change some things. And then it's like I can tell you I had like my boss at the time, I felt like he was so selfish, and I felt like my colleagues were so selfish, and that everybody will, nobody really will help me. And you know what magic happened when I flipped the thinking, when I started, honestly, I just started telling myself a different narrative. So I didn't change anybody on the outside. I literally same people, same players, and I started to say, like, let's say I'll make up names. John is on my side. He really actually cares to give me the help to progress my career. He has my back.
Wow.
And I started telling myself the same about my colleagues and the clients and people that I worked with, and literally, it was kind of miraculous because like the situations flipped, and I literally started seeing in reality proof, reflected out from outside to me of those things being true. Actually, that boss started advocating for me having the next step, having a promotion, having, a team, and the same like these people, coworkers that I thought again that they were disengaged or only cared about their own workloads, starting to help me. It's kind of like if you've heard Wayne Dyer, he used to say, I think it's his own saying, because he also obviously people quote other people, but I think it's when you change the way you look at people and things, the things you look at change.
Yeah, I
And
think
that's
I've heard that saying too. I don't know, I don't remember who said it, but I've heard it too. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it was one of the magics that really kind of that showed me what a defensiveness, and I think it's a form of defensiveness, right? When you feel like you're on your own, you have to hustle, you have to always, take care of things, because if you don't, right, nobody else really will come to your rescue or to help you much. So that was like a huge, I would say in my 30s, I made that shift. And honestly, it was really a career changer for me. And it's been an ongoing, and I've been lucky to have, supportive bosses and, like supportive teams, and also clients advocating for me. So it's really, it's been a magical experience. So I encourage anybody, you know, if you feel like you're on your own at work, that you have to do everything, you know, that people are not like selfish, like to really start changing the narrative inside of you.
You know, I have a few thoughts of that as I
Mhm.
heard that. Because you know what you said was that you literally, like, it's not like you had a conversation, a heart to heart with your boss
No,
or your colleague. What
no.
you literally did was just start to see them as being on your side, which changed the energy of the relationships. Just knowing about how energy works, when you do that, it's going to change the energy. It transforms the energy between
Yeah,
relationships. And so I have to ask, because I just kind of knowing what would have happened. You have that different view of them. My perspective is you changed that energy. You also started acting differently towards them, like how you
right,
spoke to
right.
them
I didn't
and
have
things
the
like that.
wall, right? I wasn't
Yeah.
projecting the, oh, you know, I was projecting much more, you know, inclusiveness, right? Like benefit of the doubt, seeing the good in them, right? Not focusing on the lack and what they don't have, right? Because it's like this whole co-creation and manifestation, right? We get more of that reflected versus like seeing the good, right? Because don't we all have some um, minuses, you know, we're all human beings, right? We can find something wrong with everybody.
Yeah, yeah. So what I got from that, because I think that's important, because sometimes, you know, when we hear people talk, like even famous people, they'll hook in on one thing, and the one thing could be just change your narrative in your mind. But like, I feel like that other important stuff was like changing that narrative made you actually change. So
Yeah,
like, you
yeah,
had to
the
be mindful
attitude, right?
of making sure of that. And what I gathered as I heard you then explain that you then how you converse with them, your relationships with them, is I feel what happened is you gave them the support first. They felt supported and acknowledged by you,
Right,
and then they gave it back in return.
right.
I
Yeah,
feel right?
totally. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it changed the whole dynamic, right? It's like if you see, and this is kind of where the defensiveness comes. I think another pretty related example is like when you deal with um, more difficult people, right? That it's more challenging to find or see the good, and especially when they are kind of like almost elephant in a china shop, you know, they're so type A, they're so boisterous, you know, and they're looking for sometimes they have the lens of criticism, right? You know, they're looking to take things apart, you know, and sometimes it's hard to go into these conversations, you know, that you don't look, but you, even in those, you know, if you, and then there are times where you have to dig deep, you know, to see that side. But this is where, again, again, releasing defensiveness and not make, because it's easy to see, okay, this person, right, to close off and to make it personal, right?
Mhm.
To like feel like, oh my God, this is so hard. They're out to get me. You know, I don't know how I can get through this. But then to step back and understand that this is not you. This is how that person just engages in life and engages not just with you, but with most people. And this is how they've decided that they provide value to the company, you know, to the project, whatever, to the conversation that's going on, and that, you know, you can be replaced with anybody. They're going to act that way, you know. And again, take away that kind of like really right away pushing back and, you know, putting them in their place and being defensive, to kind of like relaxing. And again, in these scenarios you have to dig deeper to see the good. But still, what you were talking about, the energy, when you do see, you sometimes have to look hard, but that you can find, you know, one good thing that their intention is really to provide value, right? To do something that they're in their mind, they think they're there to do, right? Why, you know, that they are justifying their behaving that way. It's just their way. And but still, even in those interactions, like they will start to engage you, because when you project that, when you are seeing the humanity like behind those actions that are really not personal, right, and can drop the layers, and it's a process. It's, and if you sometimes are triggered by people, it's really can be hard, right, depending on the level of difficulty. But even in those conversations, that has really been also serving, me in my career, for sure.
Mhm. Yeah, you actually said a lot there. Like that was a lot. Because yeah, like it's so easy to say about, don't work from the standpoint of defensiveness,
Hmm.
but what do, like, like you said, what do we do with those really hardcore challenging people that you're just like, I don't have the energy for you today, right?
Yeah,
Like we could go there. We could go, I just don't have the energy for this today. And you could go to a bad space with it if you allow it to.
get to you.
And
Yeah.
so yeah, and so I love what you said about just find the one thing, and what you said is because when you find that one thing, now you're changing the energy.
Yeah,
Now you're
because
changing.
again, when you can go into that kind of then the little me, like, oh, the person is just difficult, it's so hard to work with them, and you can get really spun up in that, right? And you will be right. I mean,
Yeah,
this is
you're
like
always
your ego
right.
will be right, right? And you can go complain to everybody. But at the end of the day, it's not going to change anything, right? So the only option is to either hide, avoid, but sometimes it's not an option
Hmm.
in your job, Some you can't, sometimes they're just brought into you and you can't into your life, and you can't just say, sorry, I'm not going to meet with you.
Yeah, I totally get it. Could I share a story?
Yeah.
Just reminded me because I actually had this happen like 2 days ago or something like that. The way that things work for me, right, energetically, and any of us who have done energy work, once the shift happens, you don't even really remember anything that happened. So that's kind of why I always say, like, I don't actually remember everything. I just know it happened.
Okay.
But
What do you mean you
so
don't remember what happened? Like, you
I
mean
don't remember
before?
everything. Like once the energy shifts, if somebody
Uh-huh.
annoyed you or something a little bit and you felt a little something, for
Mhm.
me, once the energy shifts, I don't remember really what they did. I don't remember much of it anymore
Okay,
because
okay.
that energy's gone. That's what forgiveness really is. You know what I mean? It's gone. Like it's out the door. Like I don't. I live in very much in the present moment, and so that old stuff just it's just not even there. Like I couldn't even like find it if I wanted to. But that's how energy works. Once that energy clears, it's out of your field, and so you don't have that information anymore. You
Okay.
know, and so I don't remember exactly who it was even. Because it wasn't even a friend or anything like that. It was something totally like I don't even know from where or what, but they had done something that I guess wasn't right. This was just a couple of days ago, and I can't tell you anything really about it because I could if it had been like my husband or something like that, then I would remember. But this was literally like I don't even know who, and so they were being the friendliest of people, something
Okay.
like this.
Hmm.
And so I had like this moment when it after it happened that where I just asked myself, okay, what information is this giving you? What do you need to know? This is how I talk to myself. I talk to my intuition on whatever all the time. And the clear back message and why it reminded me of this is because you said it's not who they are. Like, sorry, it's not their intention. Like this is literally just how they operate. They're not
Right,
trying
right,
to.
right. Hmm.
And so what came back for me was um the acknowledgement that whatever just happened, it's how he or she is treating themselves all the time, every day. So it was a more of a compassionate
Hmm.
understanding that however I thought that person was treating me like,
Oh,
they're
yeah.
actually treating themselves that way, and it's 100 times worse when you're treating
Totally.
yourself that way. Like
Yeah.
they were creating their own like misery, their own really really bad space for themselves. And so that's like another deeper layer of understanding for me when dealing with these people. It can help bring more compassion for me because you realize that whatever they just did to you, they're really hurting themselves 100 times worse. And and I don't mean that in a like, oh, they deserve that kind of way, like like not like you want that, just a realization, not just from that, but from my own stuff. Whenever I've struggled or anything like that, or when I didn't really love myself and I was critical of myself and who I am and, you know, everything about myself, I didn't feel very good. I was miserable. So whatever other people are doing, if they're criticizing you and stuff, if you realize that means they criticize themselves, that's going on 24/7 in their head. They're making their body constricted, intense laden, and just they don't feel good. They're miserable.
Yeah.
So just kind of have more compassion toward them.
Yeah, and yourself, you know, because I will say, I mean, it's interesting for you that you said, you know, kind of once you dealt with it, it's gone, right? I will say I'm still on a journey, and do I catch myself being defensive? Yes. And but I wanted to touch on, and the compassion, it's a great, like, I agree that bringing the understanding and the compassion, you know, how, you know, hurt people, right? And then, exactly the narrative, you know, whatever how they're approaching you or situations, that's, you know, they're just as hard or harder on themselves, right? And that's really where, you know, where a lot of pain lies. And then another thing I think is also not taking it's I think it's part of the 4 agreements. One of them is do not take anything personally. So like that's another layer of kind of like the separation. Not that you have to wall off, but this understanding that however, you know, a difficult person is acting, that it's not about you. It's totally a reflection of them and what's going on inside of them, and that there is hurt and most likely pain, right? Because if you're happy and in love with life, right, and totally fine, you know, you will exude that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's important. What you just said is like, if somebody's actually being cruel to you, they really are miserable, because happy people don't go around being violent or cruel or any of those things. It
You're
really,
hard on other people. Yeah. Like if you're hard on somebody else, it means you're hard on yourself, right? Internally. And compassion can go both ways, right? To that person and to yourself if you recognize some signs of defensiveness in yourself.
yeah, I love what you said. So as we're like wrapping up and getting closer to the end, I really wanted to hone in like on some of the key points that you said. Basically, you've said change the narrative.
Change the way you're looking at people and things. Yeah, situations.
Like because I wanted to touch on that one again because what you said is actually very, very common. I had that one too. I think most people do. The dog eat dog world.
Yeah,
we get that from school. We get that from the evolutionary perspective of only the biggest and the strongest survive. And so we're taught that from a very young age. We really do think that everybody's competing against us, everybody's against us, and they're really only out for themselves to get their piece of the pie, and you're not going to have any left unless you play the game too.
Right, so we have to pull the blanket to us, right? Have to get the blanket.
Yeah. So I think that like that one is huge because I feel like that one is so common. Like if you're still living in stress mode, in survival mode, like and like it'll feel so real as a belief. Like you won't even think, oh, this is a limiting belief. You won't even, or this is a block, because it's so common. Like it is said in all of media, in books, everywhere. Fend for yourself. No one else cares about you. You need to look after you. Circle your dots, P's and Q's, just, double look back, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like for yourself, because nobody else is going to check for you.
But then I think Albert Einstein said that one of the most powerful decisions you will make in your life is whether you live in a friendly or a hostile universe.
Ooh. Can you say that again?
Yeah, like Albert Einstein said, one of the key decisions you have to make for yourself is do you choose to live in a friendly or a hostile universe?
Yeah, I love that one. I asked you to say it again because it is so powerful. He's saying you choose.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
like we don't even ever think we have a choice.
yeah. And this
Yeah.
is what we will get. And so this is where the power lies. And I think this is where, like, really give yourself the power back is that, like, shedding the defensiveness is really empowering you from, you don't need to, yes, the world will tell you, wait till he changes, she changes, and then you will always be waiting, right?
Oh my
Because who
God.
knows on what schedule?
Yeah. Oh, Baiba, say that one again. You'll always be waiting.
Yeah,
Oh,
and empower yourself, right?
yeah.
March on, like onward.
Yeah. Oh gosh, you're just hitting like all the points today. You said you need to choose and basically take responsibility of like what kind of world you want to live in
Yeah,
about yourself because other people aren't going to change.
yeah, you don't know. They will, they might not, right?
Yeah, yeah. Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you've also seen like people show up differently based on who they engage, right? And like it's literally like you will get many times what you see in that person. And this is where we are the creators. This is like the biggest mind blowing thing is
Yeah.
that the co-creation power that we have.
Yeah.
And then
And it's how
literally, yeah, yeah. It's there, but it's
it's
also in your heart.
yeah.
It's in your
So
heart.
like what I'm hearing you say is for you, because we had this conversation, what's the biggest block? And so I'm getting it even more as I'm hearing you talk about it. Unleashing defensiveness is really what changed your whole life. I mean, I'm sure you
Yeah,
did other things
yeah.
too, but it was like literally going from a
Mhm,
job that you hated
mhm.
or, you know, and didn't feel supported
You were
to,
surviving. I was surviving, and yeah.
yeah, to um a job you love because you changed the way you viewed them, which then
Hmm.
turned the way they viewed you. And
Yes.
then everybody around you is like, go Baiba, and giving
Yeah,
you promotions. That's what I heard, right? You got
yeah,
promoted
yeah.
because you became so what I'm getting is you lowered the wall of defensiveness,
Yes.
became inclusive part of the team, and as a
Mhm.
part of the team, they rose you up. You were
Yes.
lifted up by the
Yes.
group. That is a lovely, lovely, oh my gosh, that is so powerful because it's going from that to nobody cares about me and
Yeah.
nobody's out for me, and to having the group
Yes.
itself be the one to say, Baiba can lead.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Wow.
And you know what? It's like what I want to tell people is that also if you've had like if the defensiveness is pretty ingrained, like I did, and I will say it still rears its head, you know, it's not like a one and done, it hasn't been one and done thing for me. And it's
Mhm.
been like be prepared that it can go in waves. Like it's not
Mhm.
always a linear, oh, dropping defensiveness today. Wasn't like that for me, Sandy. Like it's gone. It's been a, you know, it's like, you know, one thing you could be prepared for that it can, that you have to talk to yourself. You have to
Mhm.
work with yourself.
I don't think it was a one and done for me either, but I became aware of it somewhere around high school. So I read a lot. I've always been a reader.
Hmm.
And but back then it was more fiction. I swear to you, books like Anne of Green Gables taught me a lot about relationships and
Nice.
how to be loving and kind toward one another. I'm sure it was one of those books or something like that. And I don't think it was like one and done. I was young, and I definitely know I've sensed some sense of defensiveness at some point as I got older, but I think continuously practicing it and then learning how to quickly just don't even like let this go into this story, the person is so
Mhm.
horrible story, and to
Yeah.
just say you're sorry and be done with it or whatever. Just like, you know who said it best? I love this story. Coldplay. I watch documentaries a lot. I love
Okay.
hearing other people's stories. I just do. They're wonderful. People have so much to share. And Chris Martin from Coldplay and
Mhm.
his bandmates, um, they they have like the most amazing mindset, and you have to have achieved what they've achieved. I mean, maybe some people sometimes do without it, but they have it.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, hey girl, hi Haley. And so you can ask questions, do anything as you want. But he said, and join us, of course, join us. And so he said that, so like they formed their group, right? And they're trying to become famous, like and get concerts and a label and everything. And as things started to grow, and there could be tensions going on with
Yeah.
bandmates and trying to make decisions and stuff like that. The reason they're still together, because they've apparently been together since 1997, which is a long time. Bands
Yeah, for the
separate, especially
success.
when you have
Yeah.
that many members, there'll be tension, conflict,
Yeah.
right? And so it's like you listen to those people, because if they've been together that long, they know something. And
Mm-hmm.
so he said that they made this pact all the way back then, that no matter what was happening on the outside, like, where they're playing, how many albums they sold, whatever, like that wasn't the end game for them. That wasn't the goal. Their goal, their intention was to always respect one another and always hear each other out, and
Mm-hmm.
always have every single band member have an equal say. So it isn't Chris Martin is the famous known one. He calls all the shots. He's actually viewed himself always the same as his teammates, knowing that he's not really better than them at all, that it's together that they're Coldplay. And so whenever they're facing with something, their intention has always been, let's solve this with love, with kindness, with respect, and their intention, their goal is to still remain a band. It isn't to be right. It isn't to have more success, this, that. It's we want to stay together. And so I just thought that and now I forgot how it went with yours. I'm so sorry, but it was like it just whatever you said reminded me of that, because it wasn't the goal to be right. It wasn't, all these things that we do. The intention, and I thought, and from the moment I listened to that is when I started to even more make my intention to be connection, because that's what they're, stay connected rather than dissension or
Yeah. Yeah.
breakup.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, essentially, that's like defensiveness invites you to rise above your small self, right? This little child, and this is where the mix of compassion, right? Understanding the defensiveness is in a way like a small scared child, right? That immediately needs to like. My son is 12. Oh my gosh, you ask him something, he's like, well, but I did that. Like right away, and I didn't even like criticize him, like right away, bam, and it's like, like the more, I think we've had different journeys, but the more we can, heal ourselves, have the compassion, if you, even having awareness, like noticing, I think it started with just noticing that, oh my God, it's just hard to live like that, to be on the edge, right, where you have to protect yourself. One step in front of the other.
Yeah. And before we go, because you never said this, what brought that awareness? Was it that you happened to read a book that told you, or you just like, you were like, I don't like
I
this?
don't remember, but I just, in my 20s, I wasn't very happy. And it was just like, I don't remember what prompted it, but I realized like this model, like if it served me to get to this point, but like you will only get so far by yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that like I just like somehow I knew inside of me that I had to change something.
Now you're talking about intuition. Somehow you knew without any external thing. There was a knowingness, your inner guidance telling you.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Because I don't remember exactly, right? Maybe I read something, maybe something prompted it. Like the teachers also appear, right? When you're ready.
Yeah, that is beautiful, Baiba. Thank you so much for sharing this with me today. And thank you so much for allowing it to be a conversation, because I hope that this flowed more for everybody who watches this. As you, and hopefully you've been sharing your own viewpoints as you're watching it and having your own aha moments and your own what are they talking about moments, and I have a question moments.
Yeah.
And if you have any moments like that, please post them down below in the comments section. This is up as a replay. It will be up as a replay. And yeah,
Type of one if anything resonated with you, you know?
yeah, if anything resonated with you, all this stuff.
Yeah.
And Baiba, where can people connect with you?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram. I'm at Create Your Best Career. That's the Instagram account name. So you can check out what I'm really passionate about is sharing content that empowers you really to take meaningful steps. You know, if you're feeling like, okay, I'm kind of like, I'm not sure I'm using my full gift, you know, my full potential at my job. You feel like something's missing, you know, there is this voice inside that you can do more, you can be more, you know, you can contribute more, you know, that there's something quite not working, but you're not sure what's the next step, you know, quite to take. Do you need to find a new job, or maybe there's some just little tweaks you can make in your current job? And I'm also, you know, this whole conversation is so like touches me so much because it's really the knowing yourself, right? The inner work is the most powerful way to shift your career, you know, to really get to where you're looking to go. And I'm going to be releasing a podcast sharing the tools and strategies and people's, you know, other people's stories about how they have ended up in jobs that they love and they feel fulfilled, and that you can use, you know, you can take and choose and kind of pick and choose and apply in your day to day, because I truly believe that, you know, when you're in the right form, in the right job, in the full self-expression, you can truly, you know, have a job where you're looking forward to Mondays and not only living for the weekends or Fridays, right? We always say happy Friday, but how about happy Monday? And that you genuinely feel that way waking up, right? And you can get, I think it starts also with the vision. So I am giving away a free visioning worksheet that you can get it from the Instagram at Create Your Best Career, or go directly to createyourbestcareer.com/vision.
I love it. Okay, so guys, Baiba is the real deal. I hope you can see that as she just shared her story of how much she hated her job and just felt like everything was against her. And she changed it to where not only does she love her job, but she got herself promoted. And I've gotten to know Baiba for a while, and enough where I've seen her leadership skills and seen her ability to really, you know, bring together a team and stuff like that. And this is because of the work that she's done on her with herself, to be able to connect better with her team and stuff. So she fully understands what you need to do to elevate yourself financially with your goals career-wise. So totally hit her up on Instagram, DM her, get to know her, because she knows her stuff. She even gives you tips on like you talk about interviews and stuff like that, and even what to do if they said no, so how you can grow so that it'll be a yes next time.
Yeah.
She gives you the real stuff that I don't think you normally hear elsewhere. So definitely take a look on her and check out her freebies that she's been sharing. I am so honored and grateful to have you here with me today, Baiba. You're such a beautiful, wonderful, lovely soul. Your heart is genuine. She really has a heart for helping others and serving others. And thank you so much for being with you and allow me to just converse and just be a part of this conversation with you.
Yeah, no, you're such a light, Sandy. Thank you. Thank you, everybody who watched, who joined us. And you can direct message us if you think of any questions. DM Sandy or myself, you know, we'll be here, you know, as you watch the replay. And thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. All right, so I'm going to post the replay. See you later. Thank you, Baiba. Have a good night, everyone.